stand for the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Review of previous minutes. Changes, additions, subtractions? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve in a second, please? Dave Allen makes a motion to approve. Second? Second, Bob McKenzie. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? So carried. Treasurer's report. Jay had a surgical test today, so he couldn't make it. I can tell you that as of tonight, all of the accounts now have all the necessary signatures, so Dave is off the hook. I'll be working with him on getting the passwords and everything for the online accounts to be able to do all that, so that will be taken care of. And for some of some of those that weren't at the banquet last year at Spring Fling, we did present Dave with a plaque because I don't think people realize the hours that go into that, and we truly appreciate the years that he has done that job. He's had to fight off a lot of people that have wanted it, but he's maintained it, so we appreciate his, but now we're going to have him help with the auditing, so he's not out of the hook altogether yet. Correspondence, enforcement list. There have not been any enforcements that have come out. When I was at State Council a couple weeks ago, I did pull a couple folks aside, and they didn't know that they weren't being mailed out. So we probably are going to have a large quantity that we're going to need to read at the October one, but we'll get those caught up. Other correspondence, per our last meeting, letters went to Charlie Brennan, Micah Brenzio, and Wayne Love, letting them know that they had been removed from the membership. And a letter I also sent on May 1st to Ryan Greenberg. He's the new director of the Bureau of EMS, inviting him to this meeting. However, he had another conflict. And as I told him at the meeting, and I put in here, I'm hoping you can join us before the snow flies. And he said, oh, I'll be up in September or October, maybe the next one. I said, well, no guarantees on the snow. So he's going to try to make our October meeting. So those communications went out. And any other communications on your end that I don't have here?
We just were notified that St. Joseph's Hospital is a designated stroke center, and that Medina Hospital is de-designated, so they are no longer, I believe they're out west, but I'm not, out western New York, but I'm not sure. And I just heard through the grapevine, which I didn't have a chance to tell the REMAC, but Krause is now a comprehensive stroke center. I just learned that, so that's correspondence.
Okay. If you looked at the agenda, you noticed I moved a couple things from old business or new business up here so that we could have some folks come in and talk with you. And one of them has to travel quite a distance, so we didn't want to hold them. So we're going to talk about the paramedic program. Mid-State Region is who the Training and Ed and the Executive Committee chose to partner with for a distance learning for this fall. We did get a letter from JCC endorsing that for 1 year. There has been a paramedic steering committee put together from JCC. Ann and myself sit on that to talk about the future of the program through there and what has to happen in order for it to be a cost-effective program for them to run. But they, no hesitation, gave us that letter, which was forwarded on to Dan, so they do have that. So we'll turn it over to the Mid-State guys to talk. Now that Mr. Paddock's got his mouth full, right, we're gonna...
No problem. My name is Bob Paddock.
Bob, I'm going to ask you to sit at a mic just so that we're going to be able to get it recorded.
All right. My name is Bob Paddock. I'm one of the paramedic instructors for Facton St. Luke's Healthcare. And the program director, Dan Burdell, is with me this evening. I didn't really have anything prepared to speak about, but I'm happy to say that We're a longstanding paramedic program. We met with the Education Committee prior to this meeting, and we've been approached to do our program in a distance learning application for a period of 1 year and then go from there. We had, last year, we started a distance learning application in Fulton, New York, and through the course of this class, we've managed to work most of the bugs out of that to the point where we feel it's essentially the same program as if we were in the room with those students. So at this point, if it works out, then we're happy to do that for this year. And I guess I would most be able to entertain questions if anybody has them.
Does anybody have any questions on this? We kind of briefly talked about it at the last meeting, and as I mentioned, Debbie and I went down a while ago and sat down with the folks because there was no sense of pursuing it if they weren't interested. And they were very upfront that if they couldn't provide the high-quality program that they've done in the past and maintain that they wouldn't do it. So they needed to go back and look at that. It wasn't an automatic yes. It was, we need to look to see if we can do this, continue with the high standards that we have. So they're to be commended for that, because it wasn't an automatic, yeah, we want to do this. It was, we need to sit down individually, ourselves and take a look at this. And they determined that it is something that they could do and are willing and interested in doing. Well, they're not beating you up at bad at all. Right?
Wait till my phone starts ringing tomorrow, I'm calling you.
That's okay. You can do that.
Any questions? I would entertain a motion from the floor to allow us to, oops, I'm
Do you
sorry.
want the motion from the Ed Committee?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know if you wanted it now or later, but we have a seconded motion to support Herkimer Community College Distance Learning Paramedic Program site to be delivered in the North Country region. And that's been moved and seconded at our Education Committee.
Could I ask you to add to that for a 1-year period, please? Because I've been with JCC, I've let them know that this was going to be a 1 year until we determined what their future was, because we didn't want to have them support it and then, JCC get their program up and running, and then we have the other course sponsor competing with them.
Okay. So I'll add for a 1-year period.
So could you go ahead and read that again for us, Art?
A motion to support Herkimer Community College Distance Learning Paramedic Program site to be delivered in the North Country region for a 1-year period.
Any questions or further discussion? This comes as a seconded motion from the Training and Ed Committee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? We're good to go. Okay, the next is Mr. Dickey from Fort Drum. And I apologize, I put mast on here because that's how I remember it.
And that's how I'm going to refer to it. So, good evening. I'm Sergeant First Class Dick. I'm one of the platoon sergeants out there for. One of the platoon sergeants out there at the Medevac Company. Everybody knows what the MASS mission is. Was here many, many years ago, and we had to suspend it during the the years we were off fighting in battles across the ocean side. A recent DoD directive has come out basically stating that they want us to start providing support back to the civilian agencies. Last year, the hurricane in Puerto Rico and South Texas actually saw a need for us going down there and supporting the local civilian agencies in that domestic support. What does that mean for everybody? MAST is quote unquote back. We're working through some of the bugs of what we're all going to be able to provide and do. There's still some, of the legal side of the house we have to get covered. But, basically, if you call us, we will come. We're not going to be primary for, say, auto accidents or strokes or cardiac, but, we're another asset in case LifeNet is not available or Our Own Mercy Flight's not available, but we'll be another asset. The biggest thing we're really looking at really helping out the different counties and agencies throughout this part of the state is more of the SAR missions, going out and doing the search and rescues, the lost hikers, the lost campers, lost bikers, people who are in ATV accidents that are out in the middle of nowhere. It's a half an hour to 45-minute ambulance ride or ATV ride down a trail where we can go in, hoist down, and pick up the patients. So there's a lot of things coming, a lot of stuff that we're going to be able to provide the communities. I can go through the presentation real quick. I'll skip over a lot of this, and
You just
you're
tell me.
gonna send this out to all the different directors. This presentation.
I can do whatever you want with
Okay.
it.
If you could, to all the directors or the people in charge in here, send it out to them so they have it, and I'll have some business cards to give at the end of the meeting or when I get done with my presentation. I'm going to be the initial person to contact to set up the training and all that, and then when I go down to Fort Bragg here next year, there will be a replacement for me. So we skip the agenda. Quick on the crew makeup, just so you guys know, we do have 4 personnel on the aircraft. I have 2 pilots up front. I have a maintainer for the aircraft, and one of me, which is a flight paramedic. We are all certified flight paramedics on the back of our aircraft now. So you're just not getting a regular old EMT with specialty skills. We're actually trained critical care flight paramedics. We emulate and almost match up with the civilian agencies, where the only difference we don't have is we don't have a extra set of medical hands on the back of the aircraft. Go back to this one real quick,
Oops,
sorry.
sorry.
We do have a crew on duty 24 hours a day. We're not 365 yet. When the range shuts down at Fort Drum, we basically shut down. But as the need would come about, if we start seeing a lot of missions coming up during certain times of year, we'll go back in and relook our schedules and say, hey, we need to provide the support. If for some strange reason, we do have a crew off and there's a significant event where you need us to come out there and help out, when you get to the slide, it shows how to make the phone calls. Please make the phone call. They can activate us and they can bring us back in. So you can go on. This is just the capabilities of the aircraft. We can skip over that slide. You can read into it. One of the unique things about our aircraft, we are allowed to hoist. So kind of like out in California, the Coast Guard, we can actually go into tight areas, pick a patient up either on a Stokes litter or Stokes basket, sked litter, or I can put a rescue seat down there and I can put them on with me and we can go up to the aircraft. The other item is the FLIR. So we can see at night, we can even see in the day. We can actually go out there and look for those hot spots. Say, hey, there's a patient here. We've actually had 2 missions here in the local area. One last year in Black River, along the river, where there is a gentleman who was off on a little island, and nobody could see him from the banks. For everything else, we came in, looked down, right there he is, directed the crew down to pick that gentleman up, and got him out there. Earlier this year, there was I believe an 8-year-old boy up in the North Pole area here in Jefferson County that wandered down to the woods. So we went out there and started doing the look for him, and he ended up walking out of the woods, as soon as the helicopter came over the top. So we didn't find him on the FLIR, but we did scare him out of the woods. So I thought it was so. And then before that, we did do one other mission. I think it's been about a year and a half ago, where we did something similar along the Black River. We went out and assisted. So next slide, please. Biggest thing on the hoist is I have 290 feet of usable cable. As one of the personnel that go down the cable, I don't prefer to do that because that's a long distance, and I start swinging back and forth, and it's not comfortable. We can take up to 600 pounds on the hoist. That includes me, so myself and one other person, and we can move them up and down the hoist. And all that. You can go to the next slide. And that just shows some of the different stuff. Now, we use the sked, which is basically a Stokes litter that collapses in on themselves, kind of like an old reef stretcher, if that makes any sense. Well, that's the military, we use it, you can drag it up and down the hill, we can attach it to the hoist cable, and we can go up with it. As you see in the far left picture there, that is that's the medic actually riding up with the person in the sked. So if you do put somebody in a Stokes basket, most likely that medic will ride up with that patient, just so everybody's cool and calm. So, next. Armor equipment, like I said, we're full on, paramedics, so we have all the ACLS equipment, critical care equipment, we have ventilators, we have suction, defib, I have a full ACLS box, I have narcotics, warming devices, I have Laris IV pump, so we have all this equipment on board. If I think I'm going to need additional equipment, as long as I know what the mission is, I can grab this additional equipment to bring along with us. Also on our aircraft, which is kind of nice, I can take a few more patients. But I'm not really keen on taking 6 critical patients at once because I'm going to be extremely busy and something's going to get missed. But if I do also have a couple people that are walking wounded that we could also take out of there, we'll definitely take them on the aircraft with us. Next, please. And that just gives you kind of how our aircraft's set up. A lot bigger than some of the civilian agencies, but that's how our aircraft is set up. The litters are towards the front, and the 2 seats back here in the back, that's where myself and the crew chief sit. Next slide, please. As far as patient packaging, we'll come out and do training with the local fire departments and EMS, kind of show them how to transfer the patient from the stretcher to our cots, or correction, to our litters to put on the back of the aircraft, and also give them some additional training on the packaging. Our aircraft is running the whole time, so we want to have them nice and packaged up prior to put them on the aircraft, especially if it gets the colder time of month. It gets really chilly. So next one, please. All right, landing zone. For us, we need a minimum of 100 foot by 100 foot square. Surface conditions, we can land almost anywhere, but you just kind of watch out for the buildings, the power lines. Try not to give me a landing like this because it will not be entertaining for us or the aircraft. But we can go in just about anywhere. I already talked about buildings, debris. If you can, before you land us, kind of do a quick, as we say, a FOD walk of the LZ. Our aircraft does pull up, has a lot of down rotor wash, so it likes to take all those little small pebbles and stuff and kick them back up in the air. And we don't want to get those into our engines. That will shut them down pretty quick. We land and take off into the wind. If we can't do that, we will do what we call a hover down or a hover up to get out of the area. So, next slide, please. As far as approaching the aircraft, long and the short of it, you're going to take all instructions either from myself or my crew chief. If we're coming out to do a rescue or we're coming out to pick up a patient, they're going to land and I'm going to get off the aircraft, come out and do a quick handover with the personnel on the ground before I take the patient back in the aircraft. So at any time you should not have to come up to the aircraft. If we're hoisting, the only thing we ask is that you do not touch the medic as he's coming down because I need to do, as they would say, de-energize myself before I hit the ground. If not, both the person who touches me and myself will get a nice shock. And it's not pleasant. I've been shocked twice. So, next slide. And that just kind of shows you the danger areas. Back of the aircraft and the front of the aircraft. If you ever seen a Black Hawk when the blades are not spinning, the front of the blades are actually kind of like this. So they're down there quite a bit. So, next slide, please. You're going to have to click it a couple times. Okay, so basically what this says, this is the directive from DOD and FORSCOM saying we will do this mission. It's directed to all installations Army-wide. And Fort Drum has supported it. Like I said, we're just working through some of the legal side of it. Next, please. Just kind of giving you an example of the flare there. You see the 4 dots there. That is 4 people walking up the trail. We were out doing some training when we took this picture of 4 infantry guys walking out on Fort Drum. There's kind of a hilly area, and we were able to pick them up just like that. So, next slide. Yes, of course, we already talked about hoist. You can go ahead, next slide. And then the last, transporting that critical patient. So for some reason, Watertown or can't think of the hospital north of here. River Hospital? Yeah. River Hospital has a patient that they need to get to Syracuse now. or even to Burlington to the burn center, that is a mission that we can support. Just as long as enough advance warning, we'll probably bring an additional paramedic with us, and or a flight doc, depending on who's available, to support that mission. So, next. And last but not least, if this has happened, or we know there's an organ transport that needs to be done, like I said, put the request up, they'll run it through the channels, and if it's going to save somebody's life, I'm pretty sure we'll take it. Next slide. For this is just kind of our weather minimums. Like outside right now, we will be flying in this weather. Earlier this morning with the rain, it was really close, so it had been one of those approval missions, and also, does the risk, meet the reward. So this is mostly for us, but this kind of gives you an idea of our weather minimums. And if you have any questions on this afterwards, please get with me. Next. All right, so this slide is going to be the money slide for this group here. This is how.
Sorry.
That's all right. This is how you get a hold of us. These numbers have been validated and checked. We've done a couple tests on them from ourselves. I think their next test is with Jefferson County Dispatch to try to see how working for Jefferson County to Fort Drum to activate us. So this is working, and they will call us. What's going to happen in this little matrix here, we'll say the dispatcher or the person on the ground says, hey, to the dispatcher, we need Fort Drum medevac. We have a lost hiker out in the middle of the woods somewhere. That dispatcher will then pull up the magic sheet and go, okay, I need to call this number. They'll call the number, get all the information. It goes to our division mountain operations center, which is basically our dispatch center. They'll do the quick, does this meet the criteria? Yes, yes, yes. They activate us. It's not a long process. It does take a few minutes, but it's not a long process. We're not talking an hour to get approval for us to launch. Once we get activated, it's about a 15-minute launch time for us from the time we actually get the mission till we get out the aircraft, go to fly, get out to the taxiway and get our clearance and head up that way. One thing we have found out recently that the area ATCs are clearing the airspace for us if we have a live medevac mission, which is kind of a nice thing. So you go down to Syracuse, it gets kind of busy down there. Next slide. All right, so this is the 3 hospitals we go to right now. I'm going to ask about the stroke. Somebody was talking about the stroke one earlier. St. Joseph's?
St. Joe's.
St. Joe's, yeah, I'm going to need to talk to somebody about that because that's new to us.
They don't have a helipad right now. They are in the process of building one, but I don't know if it'll be Black Hawk capable. I don't know. LifeNet, Mark, do you know?
I have not heard. I would presume it will be, but I believe that we're building it with big ships in mind.
Okay. All right, so I'll get with somebody after this because, we need to go ahead and start looking at that LZ and go ahead and put it on our places we're allowed to go. So the 3 places we go, of course, Watertown, that's mostly for the people we bring off the range. They're very minor. We go to Syracuse upstate for all our trauma-related events, and also STEMIs and also strokes. We have taken some heart attack patients off out of the range out there. Burlington, that is our backup trauma, but that's also our primary for burns. So if we have any significant burns, we'll be taking them all the way to Burlington. You see the flight time there. It's about a 23 to 30-minute flight to Syracuse. Just depends on how busy it is that day. And in Burlington, it's about a 45-minute flight. So, next slide. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. Do you have any questions at this time? Oh, God. Yes, sir.
From the old days, we was asked to support both for civilian training to match your military training. Is there going to be any need for us to be sponsoring training classes for you folks?
Yes, I've already done a test bed with actually 2 agencies here in Jefferson County. I've done Watertown because we land out there a lot, so we do a lot of training with them on a regular basis. I did a recent one with Black River Fire Department and Ambulance Service where we actually brought the aircraft out, sat down, did some, the presentation real quick. We did some cold load where we actually showed them how to move from the stretcher to the litter and get into the back of the aircraft. And then we went out, turned the aircraft on, and let them do it that way.
I was referring more to the medical side of providing EMT training or paramedic training and all that.
Or as.
Are you referring, Ron, to having one of our EMTs or medics fly with them?
No.
They said they're already,
Finance some of the civilian training for their people to meet our state standards.
We're all
Oh, there are,
paramedics.
some
Some of us are New York State, but by federal law, we're only required to carry a national registry. And if you call us on the outside, we're that, it's all part of the handshake. But we're all paramedics now.
Beautiful thing.
Yeah. But I'm encouraging a lot of the paramedics to get through New York State so we have an understanding of, one, the New York State protocol, because it's a lot different from ours. There's a lot more stuff I can do on the military side than I can do on the New York side, and I'm also a New York State paramedic, so that training's already taken. Now, as far as CME stuff, I think the last class we had the guys go to was the stable, the one up there, up north here. Stuff like that we would love to come to. We're always looking for additional classes to go to besides, what myself and a few other people teach. So, I think somebody else had a question. Yes, sir.
Are you going to be expanding it? I know you answered part of it earlier, to St. Lawrence and Lewis County, especially St. Lawrence up all the way to the north, that's another 80 miles.
That is actually a good question. I don't have the answer on that, but I can definitely get you the answer. I'm pretty sure if you guys call from up here, where you're up there up north, we'll definitely look at it, whether it supports it, and we have a place we can go and land and get fuel. We'll probably support the mission.
Historically.
So, I'm sorry.
Historically, you have.
In the past,
Yeah, I would say yeah. I mean, like I said, especially if it's a SAR mission, we're working on getting our water certifications a little bit more to it than originally thought. So there's a water certification piece. So eventually we could go out on the river and pick up those boaters that get lost or run out of fuel or something like that.
So, Jim, my initial understanding when I worked to set up the meetings, Mike was unable to get to the meeting at that time, but was that they were going to support Lewis and St. Lawrence County as well.
I was at the initial meeting, and it went very well, I thought. And, when we get to that bridge, we're going to move across.
Right, I just know that it adds a lot for flight times, fuel consumption, and all that.
And something like so I'll give you my card after. You can shoot me an email, and I'll definitely send it through my chain. Because like I said, we're going to have to research the airports in the area if we're going to do a refuel up there. Because there are certain fuel requirements that we have. I don't want to go in there and take the airports the whole fuel load for the week and. So, any other questions? All right.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Well, thank you.
Old guys.
Well,
Yeah, we're
I'm
great.
actually an old guy too, so.
Great to have the resource back.
And Trevor, we've been actually, I've been in EMS since 1988, and of course I brought my cards in the wrong pocket. Anyways, this is one thing I've been screaming about since, getting into actual medevac is that, what are we doing for our paramedics? Because we go overseas and do this mission all the time. Only difference is we get shot over there. There's a big need for it back here.
well, there's no guarantee you're not going to get shot over here either. We'll try.
True statement.
You got those hunters out in the woods looking for the deer, and all of a sudden your helicopter
Well, trust
scares
me,
them off. It could be an issue.
during that part of the year out at Drum, we'll fly over the hunters, we get the pleasant, hey, how you doing looks and gestures and stuff like that. Especially when we chase all the bears to the one side of the training area. But and like I said, this is our mission. I mean, we can get called up for FEMA at any time. Like I said, Puerto Rico last year, they sent one of our sister units down there. They sent, I think, 4 aircraft down to support, the FEMA mission in Puerto Rico. Hurricane Sandy, we sent people out there for that, a few years ago. You never know when you're going to need it. So, no other questions?
Everybody good? Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Moving on, committee reports. Justin was unable to attend. Mark, do you have any info on air medical that you'd like to report on?
I have a North Country clearinghouse report summary. It's for the first quarter, January, February, March 2018. Total flight requests for the Tri-County region was 92. We had 18 completed, which reflects the weather in North Country. Looking at 710 in Watertown, completed 13 flights in the first quarter, 79 airplanes, 1 emergency flight alone, 4 no flights by emergency flight Marcellus base, and no activity by North Country. Any questions? Bryce, did you I don't know if Mr. Yelton has anything nursing flight for his book.
No, really, status quo. Got a lot of positive feedback and really.
Yeah. It's just, it's not gonna record it, and then he's gonna be struggling to,
Everything's pretty status quo for us. We haven't had any issues or concerns. If anybody's got anything for me, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
nothing to report on auditing. Bobby, I don't believe anything in bylaw. CON, we hear there may be some coming, but till they come, just like Ron used to say, until I see the paper in hand, we're not gonna worry about it, so.
No papers in hand.
Executive, we did review, like I said, the paramedic information to get that rolling, and that's where we come up with the mid-state one that we did choose. I don't know how many people, I sent an email, but I didn't get an answer on the OD map. I was wondering how many people had signed up at Spring Fling, just to have an idea where we're at type deal, and I'm hoping that we can have some of those numbers, that the idea of the number of people that are signed up, just to kind of have something on it, but I haven't seen anything come back on that yet. I'd sent out 3 requests for folks to go on in SurveyMonkey and do the committees. So if you're on a committee you don't like, it may be because you didn't respond, so too bad. We got to get the committees filled, we got to get stuff going, so that's what we did. Legislation, Dave Sherman had something come up as well last minute, so he didn't make it, but I believe in the report that Deb Foltz put out for the state, there was some legislation in there that you can read. Carol, membership.
After Spring Fling, we had several people express interest in being on the committee, and we got their feedback. However, it wasn't complete on most every one of them, so we will send out letters, certified letters, and ask those people to please complete it as we have written it, and to send it back to the Ann office, and by July 15th, and hopefully they'll complete everything that we need to have on it. And hopefully we'll have several members for the October. We will review those ahead of time so that we can present them in the October meeting.
Nominating, we don't need that. Here, Mark.
The awards were done at Spring Fling, and they've been forwarded to the state for my lunch anyway.
That's correct.
So I did see in the CMAC, the REMSCO minutes, that the state peer committee is reviewing them. Other than that, I have nothing else.
So, I did take, the folks that were at the Spring Fling, had their picture taken with, Mr. Mantooth getting the awards. I sent them away to have those printed with some words on 2017 and what it was they won. I'm hoping that we'll have those back in the next couple weeks, that we can give to those folks, so that they would have that as well. And I want to remind folks, we need to not wait until once a year when we're trying to get awards. We have the pins, we have a way of recognizing folks. We can't just, when we have CQI issues, get with people. We need to recognize folks for all the good that's going on. So please use the form that's on the website, get people nominated when they do well so that we can recognize them. And that's also a very good base for us to use for the awards. We can use that as our base to include those in being part of the awards. So please, let's recognize our own and get some in there. And program agency.
Nobody has any issues? I'm going to combine program agency and REMAC. Maybe. Okay. So just the next stroke advisory and trauma advisory committee for the region will be June 22nd at 10 a.m. for the RSTAC and noon for the RTAC. They approved the following medical director changes for Potsdam, Clarkson, University BLSFR, and West Potsdam ALSFR, Dr. Coates, and for Fort Drum EMS, Dr. Gonzalez, and for Lorraine Fire Department, Dr. Maynard. Made a motion to endorse the BLSFR pending receipt of a transport agreement with Canton Rescue for the town of Clare. So they're endorsed, the REMSCO, or REMAC endorsed them for a BLSFR. JS Coster, I received their application today with paperwork for their ALS upgrade request to AEMT level. It was missing a few things. They approved them pending receipt of missing paperwork since we don't meet again until October. Along with the BLSFR came a public access defibrillation application for DeGrasse Clare South Russell Fire Department. No new regional adjuncts. We're still waiting on a couple of limited lab licenses that were previously approved. ALS inspections were done in Messina and Carthage. No significant findings. Again, we are experiencing drug shortages here and there. I'm skipping this one, the EPCR agencies. There hasn't been any change on that. Other than agencies who have EMS charts should have received a notice that they need to file a new 5136 form because the state will be transitioning to NEMSIS V3. So you will see a little bit of change in your charting system. So that needs to be done by 6/25. So again, that's because of the change to the NEMSIS V3. So even if you're on this list, you've already sent a form, you'll have to do another one. The PCR delinquencies, we're getting all caught up. It's much better than last time. So we're making progress on that. So through the Coverdale Stroke Program, we had 5 agencies that sent in a request for EPCR equipment. We're waiting to hear final approval on those, but the exciting part of the whole deal is it will make 4 new agencies all out of Lewis County EPCR that previously were not EPCR, so that'll be great. At the program agency, we continue to work on the development of the ImageTrend EPCR platform and our regional bridge. We do weekly conference calls, long conference calls. We've heard many agencies are interested in participating, although we haven't got commitment from those outside of the ones previously mentioned. And we're actually working on setting up a demo of the ImageTrend system on July 27th. Just a reminder, they don't have to use the ImageTrend system, but it's just another opportunity for a cost-effective EPCR platform, along with a cost-effective program that we have for EMS charts for all volunteer. So we do not support any one system over the other. We just support electronic. Messina received approval as the CME evaluator agency. So just some of the training we did, an upcoming training, I will be doing a syringe epinephrine at Russell Rescue on 6/21 at 6:30. There was discussion on moving forward with the BLS CMEs. I presented a CME sheet for review. It will go out for final review. I was just trying to get some input. At the REMAC meeting, it'll be sent out to them for more input. But we've already requested EMTs to register online. We'll need each BLS agency to identify a CME manager, just as our ALS agencies do. We will, once that we do have an approved process after the October meeting, we will send a letter out to all the agencies with the final approval of the program. And the target is for the first year to be due December 31st, 2019. So hopefully we'll have them all in by the end of this year. And their CMEs will be due on an annual basis, whereas ALS is due every 6 months. But it will also include an update to the provider credentialing manual. So all a work in progress, and will be put out to members of the REMAC prior to the October meeting. So the STEMI program continues to move forward. We're still waiting Healthy Connections paperwork from Ogdensburg, Harrisville, Lyons Falls, and Messina. DigiCerts for Cape Vincent and Seaway Valley. And the hospitals, we've gotten quite a few of them tested successfully, and the others are in process. Moving forward with the EM resource program, we're awaiting a contract, and then we'll need to identify a contact at each hospital for local administration of the product. And then we'll have 2 hospitals participate in a discovery session to help develop a work plan. And so we're moving forward with that. Here's a whole long miscellaneous list of meetings that I have attended since our last meeting. And our opioid overdose program, we have got Ogdensburg PD into the program, as well as Theresa PD added to the program. And we actually submitted a grant. We were invited to apply for a New York State Health grant, and we worked diligently on this because after they approve your inquiry, they give you a very short time to put your full proposal in. And we managed to get the full proposal in, and it focuses around leadership training, operational support for agencies, and some clinical items. So hopefully we hear sometime this summer, but it's amazing. I guess I never appreciated how much hard work has to go into a grant, and I will tell you that that's one of the huge benefits of the office with the FDR HPO, having the grant writer right there and being kind of what one of their main objectives is. So that was a huge amount of support. So regional update went out to the agencies. That's just some of the stuff from our last meeting that was included in the regional update, including a reminder to our ALS providers that their CMEs are due on June 30th. And we are seeing, 2 or 3 or 4 BLS providers register on a daily basis. I think that's about what's coming through. So, and any help is appreciated in moving forward with registrations for them. Any questions for the program agency?
Okay. Safety, Larry.
Nothing to report this time. I'll be in touch with Bob and Joe in the very near future, and we'll start to get something together here.
Debbie Foltz wasn't able to stay, excuse me, for the REMSCO meeting, but her report was sent out from SEMSCO. Does anybody have any questions on that? Any questions on that? Training and ed. Go ahead.
There is a motion that has not been seconded from Training and Ed to bring forward a motion to approve SUNY Canton's co-sponsorship renewal pending completion and submission of required documents.
Go ahead and read that part. This is important.
Art and Chelsea have worked tirelessly to redo their co-sponsor paperwork to include updating policy and procedures, clinical and field internships, affiliation agreements, and having preceptor training for all current and new preceptors. I am saving the best for last, and that is finally, after all these years, 5 years of current financials, and that's from Debbie.
So, Chelsea, and is Chelsea?
Chelsea is-
Chelsea and Art, you're to be commended. I know that this has been a long battle, and it's been frustrating over the years trying to get the necessary documentation, and you're to be commended for your hard work on this, and we truly thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So this couldn't come forward as a motion because it was Debbie and Art that were
I couldn't
on the
second
committee
that.
to review it. So we need somebody to make that motion, please. And Mark, you want to second that motion? So we have a motion by Ron, seconded by Mark, to bring forward SUNY Canton's core sponsorship, and that it's due by the end of the month, correct?
June 30th, yeah.
So that would allow me to go ahead and sign that after Debbie receives all the necessary documentation so we can submit that on time.
Debbie got a nice binder tonight with everything in it. We went through it. We've got a few edits to make, but we're like 95% done with everything.
And before, we've had 5%, so we're very happy with 95%, so. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
One, I guess I should.
Thank you again, you two, very much for your hard work on that.
Well,
Is there anything else on the training and ed?
that was mainly it, other than the paramedic program that we already discussed.
Going on to county reports, Jefferson. So Debbie wanted to let folks know that we will be looking for volunteers for the first aid trailer at the Jefferson County Fair for the week of July 10th to the 15th. My husband Chris is going to be in charge of that again, and letters will be going out this week looking for help on that. The mass vaccination POD drill the county held on April 26th was a success. There will be an airport drill in September, working diligently on that. The fall EMS courses have been set up. EMT will begin August 14th, test out December 20th. EMT refresher will begin September 10th, test out December 20th. CFR will begin September 25th and test out on December 20th. Carthage is looking for an EMT. That's to be determined based on the numbers and available CICs to teach that. Paul Barter will be doing a paramedic refresher that's going to start 9/12 and test out on December 20th as well. So if anybody's interested in any of those classes, please contact Judy in the EMS office. St. Lawrence County.
One nice thing is we finally, after almost 18 months, have gotten a list for civil service staff for dispatch. We put in for it a year ago, January, and we just got a list, and we hopefully hire some folks on. So we're hoping our staff, dispatch will be up. We're going to plan to interview, we've got canvas letters out now, we're doing it next week. Once we get those in, we'll interview, and hopefully at least bring 2 on board. Train during the summer hours, and we have lots of vacations. But we can't put them up there too fast, but we'll hopefully get them out there, and hopefully get us up to better staff than we have with burning people out, which we do most centers do, because people don't believe we need numbers we need. The other problem we are still having with some radio issues, we have some challenges with our new towers and the antennas they put up. We found that once we moved our repeaters over to White Hill and Kimball Hill that we lost reception in some areas. The sheriff and Tennessee seem to be doing fine around those towers. We're not really sure why the fire dispatch ones are causing problems. We lost close departments, for example, off of Kimball Hill, we lost Richfield, where they can't hear anything. So we have gone and moved the computers back to their original positions on the old towers and the old antennas. Everything went back to normal. We have close communication, Motorola coming in on the 13th of this month to try and find out what is going on. It could be shadowing involved with the towers, or it could be some other issues. But it's not just one tower, it's two main towers. Yeah. Other than Carol, I don't know if there's anything to do in this meeting or that's it. Carol is number one there. She's so remarkable. Okay, that's it.
Any questions for Jim? Bob?
Our BLS class, that was in search and rescue, finished up. Mark, there was 8. Is that completed?
No, it was 16.
16?
Counting the truck, yeah.
Okay.
13 of their was in 3 trucks.
So those are really good numbers for Lewis County. Huge numbers for Lewis County, actually. So we're glad that that's over. We've got completed 3 successful drills, 1 ice rescue, 1 MCI in the south, and then we did a mock TWI drill up in South Lewis, which included air medical. All were very, very successful. It was really refreshing to see a lot of different EMS and fire agencies as well as air medical agencies working together to achieve the goal of educating the public and also testing some of our plans and protocols, etc. Our MCI plan is update is complete. It's going to be submitted for the legislative approval shortly. Anybody who's interested in that, there's minimal changes on it from the former. We just consolidated as we lost one agency, so we had to do the update on it. Our snort run was successful. We still had a lot of snow on the ground, which is a good thing. That slowed down speeds. So when we do the ATV and UTV run without snow, we tend to have a lot of injuries. So the more snow, the better. That slows them down a great deal. We too are gearing up for the Lewis County Fair. We have a first aid in our command trailer, and we'll be seeking volunteers for that as well. And last but not least, and this is certainly a big deal, Lewis County Search and Rescue is seeking course sponsorship. The Emergency Management Office has already forwarded a letter of support for that. That's a pretty big move for Lewis County. It's something that it's remarkable we haven't done that before. So stand by for further on that, I guess. Other than that, things are status quo.
We need to talk, that's the first I'm hearing of this, so we really need to talk to them.
That was something that came in approximately a month or so ago. I think they've been doing an investigative study into it. I'm not really sure where they're at.
What did,
You need to speak up because I don't.
I'm the president of Lewis County Search and Rescue. Our director of operations has been working with Mr. Morrissey relative to, of course, sponsorship as with previous with the Glenfield BOCES. The Glenfield BOCES went out of business. We did not have the resources to be able to co-sponsor. So graciously, Jefferson County and City Campbell were able to pick up the slack and have done so for us. With our increase in size and numbers, the board of directors in conjunction with just the director have been putting together the necessary requirements to solicit the packet from the state, and obviously eventually we'll have to come back to the policy statement is very clear on what we have fully
Jefferson County aware of this?
I can't, Justin is the lead on this.
I just don't want this to be videotaped and tomorrow they find out this way. I just,
I'll double check with the, I think Justin is talking to Judy, but I'm not 100% sure. Just from my perspective, the biggest reason that we're doing this is out of convenience, so that we know. When I worked in St. Lawrence County, the whole reason that we brought student camping for the fifth grade is because I was doing the bulk of the courses. It was convenient for me to do it back when I was working in Islandsburg, because I taught both for camping and Lewis County. When Jim was doing it, he was working at Jim for us, so it was convenient, but from an administrative perspective, it would be much more convenient to be able to kind of take care of ourselves and not have to rely on the account. Because we ultimately now, we provide, just because of traveling, we don't, ultimately the course sponsorship should be providing equipment if we can, but it's inconvenient to always drive to Watertown to get equipment. So we ultimately, Jefferson County functions on paper. For you to do anything for us in the course sponsorship other than do the administrative portion to it. We supply on paper, supply on equipment, supply on lab instructors, but just out of convenience, we're thinking that we would be better served doing the course sponsorship.
anything else for Lewis County?
Nope, other than that, we're doing good.
I have a question. Does your MCI policy have to be approved? I'm asking, I don't know. Does that have to be approved by this group when we get later? Or not?
I can definitely bring it forward.
It does.
For peer review.
Mutual aid has to be approved by this, not MCI.
Yeah, is it just MCI or is it mutual aid?
It's
Mutual aid.
MCI and mutual aid. So, I gladly bring it forward, and actually I look forward to any input for review.
It's mutual aid, Ron, yes. If it's just an MCI plan, no.
Okay. So it does not have to. I was asking, I didn't know.
Although the mutual aid's coming to us. Stand by for further. There's a whole bunch going on. I take baby steps.
Department of Health report.
Well, Ryan, Mr. Greenberg is on board. He's made his way around the state and continues to work well. And he's bringing a lot of different perspectives, new perspectives, which is good. We're in the middle of Part 18 season. There's a number of Part 18s here in our country around. Mike and I are trying to get out and do inspection when we're done with the working training center in the summer here. It's a lot of fun. That's about it. Trying to play catch up on inspections and stuff. Vital signs is in Syracuse come October. We encourage people to come on down and take it's the 10th through the 14th. We're going to be doing that. We've got some pre-con things which are going to be a little more creative in terms of using Krause and some other hospitals to do that. And looking forward to a good time in Syracuse.
Any questions for our state reps? Come on, you can't let them off the hook this season.
That's what I was thinking.
Hey, you know.
Thank you for making the journey.
It's good to be here.
Well, they made the journey because they did some inspections. 10:30 this morning.
You weren't alone.
We even swung by the hospitals.
We even swung by the hospitals and tried too, so.
It's good, keep everybody on their toes.
Exactly. Saying hi.
Old business, spring fling. Thank you. I sent out an email to all that helped staff all the things that we did. We had a great Great response from the REMSCO volunteers, getting everything. Learned a couple things. Scanners work good, but they have to be deleted every once in a while. They get full, but now we know that, so we can address that. Having the additional scanners seemed to really help put the people coming out of the BLS session through quicker and going into lunch. Any idea where you're at? A lot of people have done the certificates and everything. Good response to that?
We're about halfway, I think.
So that's pretty good. So hopefully people will get that done. As mentioned there, next year is our 20th. So if folks have some ideas on what we should do to make it special, please make sure you share that. We've already started discussions on speakers and all that. Ann, anything want to add to sprinkling?
Thank God it's done. No, it was nice.
Yeah, but you know, and I know what you and your staff and other key volunteer folks, if you've never been involved behind the scenes, it is an amazing amount of work, and frankly, I'd like to just say, hey, your guys doing a great job, because it's amazing what you pull off, and the quality of the programs is just wonderful.
Thank you.
I have.
Thank you, thank you.
REMAC appointments. We did finish that, so we'll have Ann pull that up so that you know who was put on REMAC. So Bobby Simpson was added to Jefferson County as a BLS provider. Paul Barter has replaced Janine Gomelia as the education. Jay Gannett was on there. Joe Bova was on there. Lewis County, Matt Yelton was added. Steve Monette, Mark Tuttle, and Bob McKenzie were already there. St. Lawrence County, Jen Hines has been added. She was a basic provider. Mark Devers was there. Melissa Brook was added, and Jim Chestnut was on there. So we've got a nice round now. We have all of our BLS, our ALS, our educators, and our county representatives on there. And for those terms that will be expiring next April and January, a letter will go out to them reminding them that it expires and that all the openings will be posted so that we can get some more diversity and get some additional folks that may want to sit on that committee, making it available to them. Any other old business?
I have one thing that I'd just like to say, I guess it's under old business,
Go ahead.
EMS Memorial.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay, no.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I just want to say that I did attend the EMS Memorial, and Art Garno did the prayer, and he did a fabulous job. So thank you, Art, for representing the North Country and doing such a wonderful job. It was spectacular. Round of applause for Art.
Other new business forwarded to you was the 2018-19 REMSCO schedule. If nobody sees any problems with that, it has been lined up around state council meetings. We have gotten approval to continue to have the meetings here, so that's where we show it. If there's nothing that needs to be changed on there, I would entertain a motion to accept the proposed schedule for the 2018-19 season. Joe Boba make a motion. Jim Chestnut seconds that. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The committee appointments, that it was on the back table there for you to take so that we can work on that. Any other new business from the floor? Any other new business from the floor?
There was one item in REMAC that I forgot to mention. So the REMAC also endorsed putting forth to the Regional Stroke Advisory Committee utilization of the FAST ED scale to help providers recognize large vessel occlusions. Sorry, I forgot that.
It's okay. No other new business. I'll entertain a motion to close the meeting. Second? Enjoy your summer. We'll see everybody back here in October.